Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Northern Showcase. We look forward to spending some time with you. I'm Pennyola Renshaw, a former stage manager and now a Webflow developer in Trenton, Ontario, and I handle communications for No Code North.
Hey, I'm Patrick Rossetti, and I'm a web and Webflow developer based in Toronto with a focus on technical development. I'm a newer member of the No Code North organizing team, but you can always find me in our Hangouts, geeking out on dev workflows and Webflow.
Hey, I'm Maggie. I'm a Webflow developer based in Toronto with a background in film and television. In a No Code North group, I take care of our designs and our gather space.
Our mission at No Code North is twofold. First, to build up a community of Canadian Webflowers and no-code enthusiasts. And second, to showcase Canadian talent to the rest of the world. We host workshops, demos, and panel discussions on Fridays at noon Eastern in the Lodge, our gather space. Once a month, we also host the Northern Showcase here on our YouTube channel.
And I also want to sort of give a shout out to Jeremy Leroux and Nancy Peng, who are also members of our team here. Jeremy is having a nice day off in a lovely part of the world today. So we hope he's having a great day. And I want to say hello to some folks that are in the chat today. I can see Dale, hey, and Chris Abra. Good to see you both. And both Dale and Chris are past interview guests here, and there's Nancy as well, and Susan as well. Hello, everybody. So if you have questions for our guest, please put them in the chat, and we'll either ask them during the interview or at the end.
Today, we're pleased to introduce Brody Thomas, the French just leapt in there, to our audience. Brody is a freelance designer and Webflow developer in Vancouver, specializing in creating clean, quality websites to enhance businesses' online visibility. Passionate about the outdoors, he enjoys backcountry camping, hiking, fishing, and playing semi-professional soccer. Previously, he was a soccer coach where he found joy in mentoring young players, both in their sports and personal development. Please help us welcome Brody. Maybe someone else should have done that. The Northern Showcase.
Hey, Brody.
Sorry
Hey,
for
Brody.
butchering your name.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
English is second language over here.
We got a francophone preview of what your name would be in Quebec.
Yeah.
So.
There you go. No, I like it. That was good. That was great.
So it's so great to have you here and to see you again. You've got to be one of our most regular folks joining us in the lodge, and we're always glad to see you. But the first time that we ever met was here at the very first Vancouver No Code meetup, No Code North meetup. So yeah, and it was great to have you join us there. And there's some of our other folks like Nancy's in there, and I see Angel and Stephen and Josh Lowe and Gerald. So that was a great day.
So I just put this together. This was in Vancouver, but Penny, what were you doing all the way out there? I know you're committed, but like I can't imagine you drove all the way out there for a meetup. Like it must have
just for the meetup.
Yeah,
Absolutely, okay. Just for the meetup. Yeah. No, I happened to be going out, and I'd said, "Hey, I'm coming out. Why don't we do a meetup?" So that was the first time we all met. So
nice.
It's great, excellent. And now, Jeremy and Nancy are kind of taking that reins and. They have had quite a number of meetups now, so that's terrific. Yeah. So, Brody, what did you think of us all that first time?
Yeah, no, it was great. I noticed I'm wearing the same shirt too, which is kind of interesting. It's funny how that works, but yeah, no, it was great. Like that was definitely a catalyst for me in terms of like really wanting to pursue freelancing. I think. That was my first ever community meetup, anything. It was one of my first things ever really to do with Webflow in general.
Okay.
So yeah, when I went to that meetup, it was like honestly really great and a big part of the reason that I'm where I am now. So yeah, no, it was really great meeting everybody, and it's great that I'm still in communication with all those people. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's excellent. Cool.
I got a personal invite too, so I'm coming to the next one. Okay, promise.
There we go. Yeah, you got to come out here, Patrick, for sure.
How about me?
Absolutely.
You can Maggie, but you have to say my name right though.
That's the challenge.
All righty. Well, how about we move on into the interview portion here, and we'll get to know you a little better. So, Brody, you live in one of the most beautiful parts of British Columbia, and you don't live right in downtown Vancouver, because we all like downtown Vancouver, but you live in Maple Ridge. And why don't you tell us a little bit about where Maple Ridge is and why you love living there?
Yeah, Maple Ridge is like about 45 minutes outside of Vancouver, a little bit more inland. And yeah, it's I was born in Maple Ridge, grew up here, really enjoy being here. My favorite provincial park is 15-minute drive from my house, which is amazing. So has all the camping, backcountry camping, swimming, lakes, rivers, all that kind of stuff nearby,
Right.
which is really great. So yeah, I love living in Maple Ridge. It has, so much opportunity for, stuff to do in the outdoors and all that kind of stuff, which is great. And it's close enough for the city for me where, if there's meetups and whatnot, I can just hop on the SkyTrain, come on down. So yeah,
Right.
no, I really enjoy living here. And yeah, it's great. It's beautiful living in BC. So
Absolutely. And I can vouch for Maple Ridge being beautiful. My brother and his family had lived out there for a long, long time. Back in the 80s, they moved out there. And I was there a couple of years ago, and my sister-in-law took me on this beautiful walk through a little forested area, park that was sort of just off of the downtown area. I had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, I think I remember you telling me you have family out here. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, I do. So do you have a secret spot you like to go to out there to kind of recharge after a busy week?
Yeah. So I'd say there's two that I really like, actually. One is not so secret and one is a little bit more secret. So there's Half Moon Bay, which is like a backcountry campground, which is, further into Golden Ears Park. It's like a 10-kilometer hike, something like that. And then there's Hikers Beach, which is also in Golden Ears as well, where yeah, if you just there's a parking lot there and you can hike in, and it's if you go at certain times of the day, there's nobody else there, and it's a beautiful river area, and you have the place to yourself. You have the Golden Ears Mountains in the background, kind of as you're hanging out on the beach. The water's crystal clear. It's really beautiful. So yeah, especially during the summer, that's probably my two favorite places to go. So yeah, I really enjoy going there.
Excellent. Cool. So now you are somebody who likes to go out camping and this and that and the other. If you had the opportunity to organize an outdoor adventure event in Maple Ridge, what kinds of activities would you want to include in it? How would you promote it online?
That's very interesting. I think the playbook right now seems to be Luma events. So I'd probably create like a Luma event, something like that, for the area. Right. And it would probably be something like Hikers Beach, because that's a pretty accessible hike for people. It's not very long. You can go out there. There's lots of room where you can, set out blankets or whatever it may be. And yeah, you can just enjoy a day on the river and like have great sights around you, and, bring a little bit of food if you want. So yeah, I think I'd create a Luma event or something like that, and, try and promote it that way. Try and have people make their way out here, because I think it's good to get away from the city sometimes if you're in the city, and it's just a beautiful spot to go. So yeah, I think that's probably what I would do. Something like that.
Excellent. Well, I think that might be an excellent No Code North event to consider. We've done something similar out here in Prince Edward County, so I think it would be a great way for the Vancouver folks to get together. All right. So now in your introduction, we mentioned that you had been a soccer player. So I've got a couple of images that I managed to locate online. Unfortunately, I didn't set this up very well for here. But so you were still in high school at this point?
This was university.
University. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and where did you go to university?
Simon Fraser University.
Okay. Tell us about, what did you study?
So I was studying education while I was there. And I went for 2 years. So I didn't complete my university degree, but yeah, I just went for 2 years, played soccer for the 2 years, and it was during COVID. So there's kind of a lot of stuff going on there with that, which kind of kind of messed up a little bit of the experience. But yeah, it was really awesome though, being able to compete at that level. It was NCAA Division II, so basically all of our games we traveled down to the States, or teams from the States would come up to play us. So yeah, it was a really cool experience. Got to travel a lot, which was great.
Cool. So were you thinking of going into teaching as a career originally? Was that the original thought?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, when I went to SFU, I wasn't exactly sure 100% what I wanted to do yet. I wasn't really familiar with development that much at that point. So yeah, I kind of just went to school, and to be honest, I went to school for the purpose of playing soccer. So I just wanted to play at a higher level. And yeah, I went and I was like, oh, like, what can I take that I think I'd be interested in? I love working with kids, like, and especially coaching with soccer and stuff like that. So I just figured it all kind of lined up. And yeah, so I ended up just taking education, and that's what I was studying while I was there. So
right. So were you already coaching soccer at that point, or was that something that came after the school?
Yeah, so I started coaching before university, but it was mostly volunteer though. So I wasn't a paid position yet. I was just kind of volunteering my time on the weekends and just helping out with the young kids. And then eventually it turned into an actual paid position. But that was that was before I went to university. So yeah, I wasn't full-time coaching at that point. It was kind of just something on the side, and wasn't something I was doing quite a bit yet. So
right. But you actually were paid as a soccer coach, and were you able to? I have to say, I know nothing about that. I just thought everybody volunteered to coach things.
Yeah.
Was that enough? Could you live on that, on what you were making?
Yeah, so I could. So the thing with soccer coaching is, unless you're a technical director of a club, or you're coaching at a professional level, which I was not either of those. I was running an academy for my local grassroots club. So like it was a salaried position, which was great. But it's difficult, that's difficult to live on. But it was also part-time, which gave me time to do other things and to work elsewhere, right? Which was great.
Right.
So yeah, soccer, unless you're a technical director or taking the pro path in terms of coaching, it can be difficult to make a living off of. But yeah, I was just lucky that it was part-time, and I had opportunity to pursue other things at the same time, which was great.
So obviously one of the things you were pursuing was website work. How did you get into doing that? Where did that interest come from?
Yeah, it pretty much stemmed from COVID. So I was really bored during lockdown and didn't really know what to do, and decided that I was going to start learning how to code. And yeah, when I first started, it was it was really just for fun. I had nothing else to do, and I just wanted to give it a try. I had no aspirations really with it. But eventually, as I started to learn more and more, I really got into it, because I had always been kind of into technology and stuff like that. And yeah, just as COVID kind of played out, I just stuck with it, and just continued to learn a little bit each day, until eventually I felt comfortable in starting to take on some small freelance gigs and whatnot here and there, until now. So
right.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. So now, what were the first couple of sites that you took on? Were what sorts of sites?
Yeah, so it was mostly just doing stuff for friends and family. So small stuff. Was charging very small amounts, sometimes just doing it for free, just to help people out, until eventually I really got attracted to the lifestyle of what having your own business, freelancing, and what web design can kind of offer in that sense. And being very autonomous with when you work, and how much you work, and whatever it may be. So once I kind of got a taste of that, it was pretty difficult for me to work other jobs and stuff, because I was like, oh man, like this is so great, because I like being able to work wherever I go. I like to be able to pick up, go work at a cafe, go work at the library, that kind of stuff. And all the jobs I had before that, I had to be somewhere at a certain time and do certain things, right? So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And I think that's what really made me want to start to pursue it more and kind of consider it more as a career.
Right. Now you've done some soccer team sites, right?
Yeah. So I've worked with, I'd say one of them was more of, it's an interesting combination of soccer and tourism, essentially.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're called Next Level Soccer, and they take teams from Canada and they bring them over to Europe and set up games with them against like some of the top professional academies in the world. And yeah, you go and you play against those academies, and they mix in some travel in there as well. So I was lucky enough to experience one of the trips when I was younger. So we went over to England and Italy, and we played against some of the top clubs over there. And then, you're able to go and do a little bit of travel, check out, Buckingham Palace, Big Ben when you're in England, and then you go to Italy, and we went to Milan, and we're able to kind of experience those different things. We're on the coast. So yeah, so I built a website for them. And then the other one was, it's called Speed Football. And it's basically it's kind of a different take on a development game for soccer. So it's just really fast paced. And the idea of it is for players to get most touches on the ball as possible so that it can increase their development. And it's just quicker tournaments as well. They're only like 2 or 3 hours long. So that typical tournaments are like over the span of 2 or 3 days, and you have to, drive your kids out and they go and play. And it's like, it's a full weekend thing. The speed football tournaments are a couple hours. So you can kind of come in and just, enjoy it. It's a fun atmosphere. And yeah, so I was able to build a website for them, which was really great as well.
So I'm sure, having had the experience of being a soccer player, also did you find that made it easier to tackle sites like that? Like, is there something that about being a player that you could sort of bring to that?
100%. Yeah. I think, I feel like it's that way when you're working in any niche, right? Where if you've had experience in that niche before, then it makes it a lot easier to offer expertise, So when I was working on those projects, not only could I obviously deliver on the design and the development and whatnot, but I just felt like I had a little bit more that I could offer in terms of strategy as well, and understanding kind of who they were targeting and how we could shape the website to, specifically target those people and help people understand, especially with speed football, how the game works and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's definitely helpful. So yeah, I found it helpful with projects.
Cool. Now, were you building in Webflow at that point, or were you using a different tool? Like, how did you get started in the actual tools?
Yeah. So the very first websites I started off building were in WordPress. And I eventually came across Webflow, and those websites, Speed Football and Next Level Soccer, those were both built with Webflow, and everything I build now is with Webflow.
Right.
But I started off with WordPress originally.
Right. So how did you find Webflow? How did that end up in your?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting actually. I was backpacking through Southeast Asia, and I was in Thailand, and I was at a hostel, and I was just kind of hanging out, and I met a guy, and super nice German guy, and we kind of just got around to chatting. And at the time, I was really just, web design for me was just a side hustle. I was only taking on projects kind of as they came. I didn't think of it as anything serious. I was kind of just like helping people out, and that was kind of that. But he told me about Webflow because, we got into like a conversation. I was like, oh yeah, like I do some web design on the side and this kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, what do you build websites with? I said WordPress, and he kind of gave me the, oh, okay, yeah, like that's nice. Yeah, you should look into Webflow. It's pretty cool. And yeah, so I basically, kept that in the back of my head. And eventually, when I got back home from traveling, I looked into Webflow, and I couldn't believe it, because WordPress, I felt kind of restricted, especially with the design aspects of things. So once I discovered Webflow, and even just going on the Webflow website, I remember for the first time, I couldn't believe what it was capable of. Right. And yeah, it just really, that really got me hooked, where I saw the things that you could really build, and like the web experiences that you could kind of offer to people. And that was a huge game changer for me, because I figured that, that was something that really interested me, and I felt like was a huge creative outlet. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting way to find out about it, but it was great.
Right. So and when was that? Sorry, how long ago?
Sorry, I think I lost the audio there for you.
Sorry, that could be me. We know I'm out in the country here. Folks in the background, are you still hearing me?
I don't know if it's just me.
Yep.
I don't think I can.
Nope.
I don't think I can hear Penny here.
Oh no! Oh dear. Okay.
I can hear you, Penny.
Yeah.
Oh, it is just me.
I'm hearing you fine, Brody. Okay.
Oh, I figured it out. Is everything okay?
Okay.
Okay, I can hear stuff now. Okay, I couldn't hear either of you, so I knew it was me. Okay, there we go.
Okay. All right. Good. So, what is it about Webflow that you enjoy the most, and what would you compared to other platforms?
I think for me is, I really enjoy the design aspect of, the design and development process. I find that, some people, they really like development or they really like design. It's kind of one or the other sometimes for people. I really enjoy both, but I found that when I was doing design with other platforms, I was really restricted. There was only so many things I could do versus Webflow. It's, whatever I create in Figma, I can create in Webflow. So I just feel like there's no friction there whatsoever. And another major thing for me as well is, a main part of building WordPress sites, and especially for, agencies that may be working with WordPress, is having to charge hosting fees and like management fees monthly for people, in order to update the plugins and, this and that, because there is quite a bit of maintenance that can come with WordPress, especially if you're working with larger sites. Whereas Webflow, I just feel like, I finished the project and I can, show them how to make simple changes to their website and, whatever it may be. I can kind of give the client the power to do what they want to do with the website. And once I hand off the website to them, it's theirs. And, I'm there for support if they ever need anything. But I feel like I can give them a lot of, that power to be able to do things themselves, which I really like. And I don't, have to charge them monthly for hosting, for maintenance and whatever it may be. It's just, I can hand it off to them, and it makes it a lot more seamless, in my opinion.
Right. And then you can move on without worrying about old projects. Right. I think one of the things that I find is that sometimes when you get somebody who hasn't been in touch with you for a couple of years, you're like, right, how did I build this again? Let me go dig around and figure out what I did, especially when they do some of those complex things. So
100%. There's so many different ways you can build with WordPress too, right? So there's times where, you'll be working on a website and some have built with Elementor, or some use like, Gutenberg or whatever it is. And every time it's like trying to tackle something brand new that you just haven't seen in a long time. Whereas Webflow is just, it's nice because it's pretty simple for the most part, besides maybe different frameworks and stuff. Some people build differently, but for the most part, it just seems a lot simpler to jump into a Webflow project.
Right. Have you taken over any existing Webflow projects that were built by others?
No, I've done some work in terms of somebody's had a project and I've just had to hop in and they've just been looking for changes. But there hasn't been anything major where I've had to take an existing project and have to, do a full redesign, redevelopment, or, some kind of migration or anything like that. A lot of the businesses that I've worked with either have something in WordPress and they just want to, migrate to a different platform, or they're platform agnostic and it's, it's just what I recommend to them, and, they're completely okay with that. But a lot of the time it's a completely fresh redesign and development.
Right. And so do you have any problem convincing clients to use Webflow, because everybody's heard of WordPress and they all think that's what they should have, and they don't know much about Webflow?
No, honestly, for the most part, I don't have too much of an issue. I think depends who you're working with, but I find that most people just want to go with whatever you feel comfortable with using and building with. And I think I always try and tell them as well that I can set things up in a way on Webflow where it's going to be really, really simple for them to make changes and to build things out as they please. And it's a pretty easy process if you take the time to train a client on how to do these things, for them to be able to make those simple changes and to adjust things as needed. So
Right.
yeah, I think, when I tell them that, they don't have to, the website's theirs, there's no hosting fees charged, month to month, and that I train them so that they're familiar with the platform. It's not just like, hey, here's a Webflow website, good luck. Right.
Right.
If you offer them, that support, then I think I haven't really had an issue, and I find most clients are more than willing to move to Webflow.
Right. And do you find that your clients actually do updates, or is it the sites that you've built have sort of required updates, and so the clients are comfortable with it?
It's pretty rare, honestly. I find most of the time, like that's a thing they're concerned about, and then you go through the time of teaching them how to do it, and most of the time they don't ever even make changes to it. I've just had like a couple of times where they want to do stuff in the CMS, right? Or very rarely they'll use the editor or build mode, right? And try and adjust things. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty rare that they end up making changes regardless.
Yeah, I find that as well. I had a client this week where he's like, okay, so you'd said we could edit ourselves and la la la. And it was like, do you really want to?
Right.
They've got like 1 or 2 changes to do a year. They said, should we just have you do it? Like, you could.
Yeah. Most of the time it's just easier that way, right? And I honestly find that I'll set all these things up for them, and they end up just coming to me anyway and just being like, hey, can you adjust this? Can you do this? Right. Yep. So yeah, I mean, exactly. You want to give them the power to do it, right? But ultimately, if they want to use you to make those changes, then so be it, right? Like that's fine by me, and I'll have to do so.
It's like, it's good when a client understands what's most important and what's most valuable to their business or their organization. Where is their time best spent, right? And we are all told, that you should be able to update your website yourself, and that's what so many clients come saying, I need to be able to update. It's like, yes, you should, and that would be great. But the actual, when it comes right down to it, remembering how to do it, making the time, it often falls to the bottom of the heap. Right?
Totally.
So, yeah. Unless you've got a marketing team, right? I can totally see where Webflow would be amazing with a marketing team that can act. That's part of their job, right?
100%.
Yeah, cool. So tell me about where you find inspiration with the design work that you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think design's interesting because I think you can pull inspiration from so many different places. Sometimes I just find myself, scrolling through Twitter, which I'm honestly on very rarely. I'm not really a massive fan of using social media, but there's so many amazing designers out there to be able to pull inspiration from that, sometimes I just like to go on there and just seeing what other people in the community are creating offers a lot of inspiration to me. There's lots of sites out there as well. You have Pinterest, which, can be hit or miss sometimes, right? I don't really use Dribbble that much anymore, but, there's another one called Minimal Gallery that I love to look at as well. Okay. I think just being able to pull bits and pieces from lots of different things and to bring that in and create your own style, I think is a really great thing to do, because ultimately with art, like if you want to say that design is art, which I'd probably argue that it is, the best artists have to take their inspiration from other things, right? And you have to pull from all these different pieces and kind of create your own style, right? So yeah, there's so many different places, but most of the time it's those websites where they showcase different websites, or it's just from seeing somebody on Twitter, post something that they've been working on recently and it resonates with me and it's a design style that I really like and something that I kind of want to take inspiration from for a project.
Right. Are there any Webflow people or Webflow adjacent people that you sort of turn to learn from, or, that you would perhaps want as a mentor at some point in your career?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm really lucky with the community that I'm in now, right? there's so many people just in No Code North itself where I've been really lucky to have them mentor me, because this all came at me really fast over the last 2 years. It's really been such a quick transition, where I was 2 years ago not really taking web development seriously. It was just one of those things that I did on the side for fun, to going to that meetup and just being so grateful for the people that I met and for being so open to sharing stuff with me, that the community itself, honestly, people like yourself and Jeremy and Maggie and Nancy and Patrick have all been people that have helped me grow, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And then of course there's people like Grace Walker's a big inspiration, being Canadian as well, right? I've been seeing a lot more of Devin Fountain, who is really, really good. Like, holy cow, when I see some of his stuff, I can't believe it, right? So yeah, just seeing these people work, right, and being lucky enough to be surrounded by people who are really supportive and aren't gatekeeping anything, always trying to help each other out, has been really amazing. So I feel like I have so many mentors, right, which I'm very lucky to have.
Right. Yeah, it's been really enriching to be part of helping make all of this happen, to and to get to know people and watch them grow and in their careers and their knowledge. So development now, what are there things that you like to use? Are there aspects of Webflow that you sort of use on all the sites? And how do you increase your knowledge of Webflow and other things? Are you using code and things like that?
Yeah, so for the most parts, a lot of the stuff that I deal with is just marketing websites. So it doesn't require anything super crazy outside of what Webflow offers natively. Right. I did have a project recently where I did work. It was an e-commerce project, which was something that was new to me. So I was working with Smoothify and doing an integration with Smoothify, with Shopify and whatnot, which was honestly really cool. I didn't really know what to expect when I took that project on, but it was something new, and I just really enjoy being able to learn new things and constantly take on new projects where there's different challenges and stuff that kind of requires me to grow in that sense. But I'm sure, as you know, Penny, there is an unlimited amount of stuff that you can learn. It never ends. It genuinely never ends, right? It just doesn't. Yeah. So sometimes it can be intimidating looking at the big picture. And I look at some of these other developers and think, holy cow, how am I? It's going to take me forever looking at the big scale of things to get as good as that person or do this and do that. And it can be really easy to start to compare yourself to other people. But yeah, I think you just got to take things in stride and kind of have bite-sized pieces and just think, if I just improve a little bit each day, then in a year's time, even 6 months time, I'll be so much better than I am right now. Right. So yeah, just using resources. There's so much online. YouTube is just insane. You can learn anything on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just using those resources is just, I think you can make small improvements each day.
Yeah. I have to say, compared to 20 years ago, when I had like a big, thick book trying to understand what CSS and HTML were, it's an awful lot easier now to learn all of this. 100%. Do you use a framework? Is there one in particular that you like to use? Have you checked out several different ones?
Yeah, so I was using Client First originally, but I've started using Mast recently, and I love Mast. I've been really enjoying Mast a lot. I feel like it just speeds up the development process quite a bit more than compared to when I was using Client First.
Right. Are you using components and slots and things like that? I haven't started with that yet, and
I've dabbled, but yeah, I haven't really gone down that rabbit hole yet. Where I've seen some stuff and it's absolutely crazy, and we'll probably get there eventually. But yeah, it hasn't been something that I've dove into seriously yet. So
right. Right. All right. So then you sort of moved from being sort of part-time doing this sort of in a conjunction with other things, and then a while ago you decided to go full-time as a Webflow dev. And how's that going?
Yeah, it's been good. It's presented its challenges for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Before, when I was part-time coaching and doing, design and development, it was one of those things where when you have a consistent stream of income, a reliable one, where you know exactly what you're going to be making every single month, it's really easy to plan your life and to budget, and it's a lot more predictable, right?
Yeah.
And if there's one thing about freelancing, it is unpredictable. You really don't know what you're going to get ever. There's only few things that stay actually consistent. So I think just being able to deal with the ups and downs, and try not to panic when things are down, and then also trying not to get stressed when things are way up, right? Because there's time. People always say feast or famine when you're freelancing, right? It's either insanely busy or not at all. So just being able to deal with those ebbs and flows, and not get too high, too low, I think has been a challenge, but it's something that's just going to take time and come with experience, I think.
Yeah, it takes a while until you begin to trust that even if it's a dry spell, that it will end, and you're never sure exactly how it's going to end. But that's a part of that sort of being an entrepreneur, is just trusting that you will get through it, and that what comes later is going to be even better.
Yes, for sure.
It takes a while. It does take a while. Mm-hmm. So how are you finding clients now?
So typically, most of my clients at this point are through referrals, which has been really great. I've also been dabbling a little bit with cold outreach, which has been pretty interesting. But yeah, that's most of the time. Referrals is just like the consistent, form of me getting clients. But I have kind of enjoyed trying cold outreach and just dabbling in that a little bit, and just seeing what comes of it. So yeah, it's been fun.
So what does that look like for you? Sending emails or phone calls, or what does cold outreach?
Yeah, so typically I'll just look for businesses at this point just kind of nearby, and stuff typically in niches that kind of resonate with me a little bit more. Which for me is just like outdoors, tourism, wellness, that kind of stuff. Just tends to resonate with me a little bit more. So yeah, I'll just kind of research businesses in my area. And when I come across a website that I think could use a little bit of love, a little bit of help, what I'll typically do is I'll just take the website, I'll record a Loom video, and I'll go through the website try and keep it short, like under 5 minutes. And I'll just say, hey, this is a couple things that I think your website is doing really well. And here's a couple things that I think if you were to improve them, it would make a really massive difference to the user experience on the site, or potentially to, increase conversions, et cetera, et cetera. Something that I think would benefit them. And yeah, I just make a short video, record it for them, just going through their website. And then I'll just I'll just write them an email, send it over their way. And that's pretty much that. And if they want to get in contact with me, then awesome. If they want to take that and apply it to their website and never talk to me again, that's fine too, right? Like they don't owe me anything. So yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just, you reach out and you try and offer value to people, and if it offers them value and they want to work with you, then that's great, right? So yeah, that's kind of what that's been looking like.
So have you had any uptake from that?
Yeah, so I just started it about a week ago. And I've had like a really good open rate. So people are opening the emails and whatnot, which is great. People are watching the Loom videos also.
Great.
I find either, people will not open the email at all. And if they don't, that's fine. But most people who open the email will watch the video, which is great. So that's honestly for me what I care about the most, because I like when I put the time into making it, there's no expectation from me that anything comes from it. It's more so that I actually want them to just watch the video and hopefully take value from it, because then at least I feel like even if, if they don't hire me, that's fine, but maybe it makes an impact for them and it actually helps their business. Right. So, yeah, but I've had some responses, which is great, because it's really difficult to get responses, honestly, with cold email. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Well, that's good. I mean, maybe more of us should try that. So do you do any other networking? Like, are you a member of any other local like business groups, or is that something you might consider if you're not doing that right now?
Yeah, honestly, I'd love to be. Maybe we're just small though. There's not a whole lot going on here though, to be honest, in terms of like, especially in terms of tech, it's smaller city, right? So there's not as much going on in that sense, but I'm always looking to be a part of communities and meet people, because sometimes web design gets a little lonely. You're by yourself a lot of the time, and it's great being able to talk with people on calls and stuff like that. It's great that that's an outlet now and it's possible, because there's a point where that wasn't possible, and a community like this would not be possible, right? But yeah, there's times where sorry about that, my screensaver just went on. Yeah, there's times where I wish I was able to be around people in person more, because it's not all the time, and that's something I do miss about coaching a little bit, was being a little bit more part of the community and stuff. But yeah, I think I'm always open to being part of more communities and meeting more people.
Right. So would you consider joining? I'm sure Maple Ridge must have a chamber of commerce. I'm thinking more in terms of networking for finding potential clients.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I would 100% consider that, and probably is something I should look into for sure.
Well, I think you're probably ready for it, and I'm sure folks would love to get to know you. It's like, I certainly find, I'm old, but young people who are building businesses, I think, are really fascinating to people in groups like the Chamber of Commerce. I think they really want to know more about how you get started and how you're going forward with things. And Dale's saying being around people more. That it is so true, right?
100%.
Yeah, I have to say the pandemic saved me. I was getting so insular after 15 years of sitting here building websites in this, in my office here, that, and I have to, the business, being a member of the Chamber of Commerce here really gave me an opportunity to get out, connect with people, and talk to people who do other things, because they do not understand when you say the words HTML and CSS and stuff, but they do understand when you talk about, improving their reach online. Everybody's heard about search engine optimization now, things like that. If you start talking about AI and how AI is changing how people search, people are like, oh yeah, I search differently now. I think that there's so many topics you can probably get into.
Yeah, and it's great to hear other people's perspectives as well, right? Because I find when you're connecting with people that are in the same kind of industry as you, or share a similar job as you, or role, whatever you want to call it, you talk about the same stuff a lot of the time, right? It's like, oh, what projects are you working on? Are you trying anything new? And sometimes it's just nice to talk with people with it not being web design related, right? Like necessarily, you just talk to people and are just able to learn more about them and what they do, and what the different problems are with their industry. What do they really like about it? Like it's so interesting getting insight into different businesses as well, and it's just nice to hear from other people and hear something new, right?
Right. So it sounds like you're not particularly looking to niche down into any particular type of site that you only want to build, because then you can just like crank them out.
Yeah, I think niching comes with its pros and its cons. I think if you niche down, you have the ability to come across as more of an expert in that particular niche. which you can charge more, you can, pump out more websites, right? But I think being able to work on different things and the ability to have different creative projects where it's something new and challenging, I think is really good for creatives, right? Just being able to work on different things and have different challenges come. Like I think for me, an ideal thing would be to have a niche, right? And work with people in a particular niche, right? Like I said, there's certain ones that resonate with me more than others, but the ability to be able to step outside that niche sometimes and work on something different, I think is really valuable and is just good for people because it's nice. It's nice to do something new and to take a different creative direction with things.
Yeah, exactly. Patrick has a prediction here that we're thinking perhaps. You never know.
Don't make me get into politics, Patrick, please. Please.
We can talk about that later on.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, dear. All right, cool. So, what's been your favorite project so far?
It's a great question. I think probably I really enjoyed the speed football project because for one, it was something different because it was a startup and a startup in a space that I know really well. So that was just really fun for me. And also just being a fan of like what they're actually doing as well. And just really supporting kind of what their vision was. I think made it a really fun project. And they were great because they said, you do what you want to do. And I was working with really great branding as well. The person who did the branding did a fantastic job. So just being able to have like some really solid branding and a project where they're like, you are, the expert, you do your thing, was really freeing and just allowed me to, really just dive into it and experiment and come up with something that I'm, pretty proud of. And that was a while back. So I feel like I've improved even a lot since then, but that was a really, really fun project for me. I really enjoyed that. That was a really good one.
And what's the biggest project you've done so far?
The biggest project, definitely that e-commerce website for sure. E-commerce is definitely a whole nother bag when it comes to certain things. There's a lot more moving pieces and whatnot, and more. And it's pretty clear with e-commerce as well what the benefits are, right? Of having an improved website and an easier user experience. Like there's things there that just line up and make sense. Whereas sometimes with websites, it can be more difficult to explain to people what exactly they're getting from having a different marketing site or whatever it may be. It's can be more difficult versus for the average person, better e-commerce site equals more sales. That makes sense to them, right? So I
because that's what everybody wants.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So was that the mattress site?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. So talk about that because I don't know Smoothify at all. I haven't really looked into it. I know that it exists, and I know you mentioned working with it, but tell us about that as an e-commerce platform, and is it just a connection between Webflow and Shopify, or how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a connection between Webflow and Shopify. It's a middleman that basically allows you to sync the Shopify products,
right?
The Webflow CMS collection, and that's essentially what it does. And then it has like some extra like custom elements that are a part of the app where you can basically just drag and drop things in, and you can link the Shopify ID to the CMS collection, and your products are in. Like it's just like boom, just like that, and it automatically syncs as well. So if you make changes in Shopify, it'll automatically sync over to Webflow, which is really awesome because a lot of the people who are doing e-commerce projects, right, they're just used to working with Shopify.
Mhm.
So to tell them like, hey, now we're going to be using Webflow, and if you want to make changes to your products, you'd have to go into Webflow or whatever. That might be kind of intimidating to them, but the fact that it all stays in Shopify is really great. So yeah, it just offers that ability to just sync things over really seamlessly. And once you start connecting some of the stuff to the CMS collections, it just like boom, just like that. You put a little bit of code in the site settings, and you're, Bob's your uncle. You're pretty much you're doing it. So
Excellent. So are you using AI anywhere in your process? Are you?
Yeah. So there's been times for some custom code stuff that's been required where I've worked with AI to help me, come up with some of that. Like, I think there's some stuff, especially with advanced JavaScript, where I'm just like not really there yet. I understand the fundamentals of JavaScript, but there's some stuff that, is a little bit beyond reach for me. So just being able to use AI for that has been really helpful. And also with some of the other projects, like some of the smaller ones, some people want help with copy as well. And I find AI can be really helpful with copy. You just have to make sure you steer it in the right direction, though, because sometimes it can get really basic and really standard and can come off a little bit corny and whatnot. I don't think it can replace a legitimate copywriter. Like, I think they just have the ability to see things in a way AI can't, because they're human, right? It's just something extra that they have. But for some of those smaller projects where people just need help and just need to get like their basic messaging across, I think it can be helpful. And not having to think of that myself, just using something else to help kind of guide me or even myself guiding it, I think has been really helpful in my workflow.
Right. Cool. So Ivan's got a question, whether you've used Shopify. Did you compare other connectors before you chose Smoothify?
Yeah. So originally I was actually going to use Shopify, and I had set everything up, and Shopify was having an error. Like it was not working at all. And I basically saw that, and I was like, hey, well, I don't know why this isn't working. So I just shifted over to Smoothify, tried Smoothify, and it worked. There was some really basic error that Shopify was having that just made me turn off from it basically and try something different. And Smoothify is also cheaper as well. I'm not sure if Shopify has I haven't dove super deep into Shopify, so I don't know if it offers some things maybe that Smoothify doesn't. But there was nothing that I was doing where Smoothify wasn't kind of capable of handling it. So I found, it kind of just worked out nicely. It's cheaper for the client, right? Because they're the ones ultimately paying for the hosting and whatnot. So it was cheaper for them, and it worked for me. So yeah, I just ended up using Smoothify.
Cool. So where do you think things are going for you, say in the next 5 years or so? What do you see in your future?
Oh, it's a good question. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Even so much has changed for me over the last 5 years. So to say in 5 years, I honestly have no idea. I think, just continuing to improve and just get better and offer more value to people and their businesses, and, just continuing to be a part of the community. And hopefully as I continue to improve and gain more experience, helping the next group of people come in, improve and gain more experience, and kind of being a, maybe a mentor to somebody else, just like continuing the cycle there.
Right.
But yeah, I think, it's hard to say. I want to keep improving and freelancing, because, freelancing is great, and being able to be, autonomous and do things kind of in the way that I want to do them and be able to work with people is really great. But, maybe it's a job down the line or something like that. It's really great working with teams and being able to consistently work with other people. So maybe that's a route as well. But yeah, at least in terms of my career, it's definitely, web design and web development has been really great, and I want to continue pursuing that. And then that's pretty much that. Yeah.
Right. Now, you're not a Webflow partner yet. Are you planning to become a partner?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely in the future. I think it would be good to get that. I was actually in the process of getting my certifications, and that's when they shifted over to the new partner system that they have now.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of go back and look into the test and whatnot. But yeah, definitely something that I need to do.
Excellent. Good. Well, one other thing. What advice would you give somebody who was thinking about going into web development?
I think that you should dive into it at first for the purpose of just enjoying it. Just go in and don't look at it as I'm doing this because this is the career that I want to take necessarily. I think it's good to just try different things. So go in, give it a try, see if it's something that you really like first. And if you really like it, then just look to consistently improve and work on skills that you think can actually help people. Because that's what really kind of guided me in the beginning is, what can I learn where now I'm able to directly apply that to, helping my friend's business because they need a website and the website they have is, not great right now. How can I make it easy for them to manage or whatever it may be? Right. I think see if you like it first. And then if you really like it, learn how you can offer value to people and be helpful. And then, then just work with people and just see how it goes. Right. Just try and be as helpful as possible. And I think eventually people will see that and see the value offer and, the kind of person that you are. And I think, you could have success that way.
Right. Excellent. I think that's excellent advice. So let's bring Patrick and Maggie back. And do you guys have any questions for Brody?
I actually do have one. Do you still like playing soccer?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm still playing. So right now, like this fall, so I was playing in a semi-professional league over the spring and summer.
Okay.
So we finished off the season, and I was playing through an injury for the last couple of games. So now I'm for like the regular men's season, I've just been resting for the first month or so just to get the body back. But I'll be back playing soon though. So
I was gonna say it's awesome that you're still playing like in like a competitive league too, because that's one thing. Like I used to play like competitive baseball, so like I struggle with now. It's like some of my friends are like, "Oh, let's join a beer league," and I'm like, "Is that going to be fun for me?" I don't know. Are you looking forward to like more recreational leagues, or do you still like the competitive aspect of it too much?
So when I originally stopped playing at SFU, I played overseas, and I didn't really have a great experience in terms of actually enjoying playing. No, in terms of the experience itself and growing from it, it was great. But once I came back from that, I was convinced. I was like, I'm only going to play recreationally now. I just want to enjoy playing.
Gotcha.
This last spring and summer though, playing in that league, playing competitively again and having it actually mean more, reeled me right back in, man. It really reeled me right back in. And I absolutely loved it. So yeah, if I were you, Patrick, go play. Seriously. Like you can only play for so long. So go and play, get back into it, man.
You know what? There's a guy, I think he's like 67. He plays on one of the men's slow pitch leagues I played on like this summer, and he still comes out and plays. He, crushes the ball, pitches, does the whole thing. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah, I do miss that competitive like edge though. So I'm a little bit jealous of you there.
Yeah, hey man, it's so easy to get back into it, especially if you play competitively when you were younger, man. Just ease your way back into things, and yeah, you'll find your way for sure.
Gotcha.
Well, excellent. Maggie, anything?
No, that was great.
All right. Excellent. So, Brody, how can folks find you online? What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so you can go to my Twitter, which I honestly don't really use that much, but if you want to reach out to me there, you totally can. Have a LinkedIn as well, which I'm on here and there, which you can reach out to me. But the best way to get in touch would be to email. So you can email me at hello@brodythomas.ca, or you can go to my website, brodythomas.ca, and you can book a call there. I think that'd probably be the best way.
All right. Excellent. All right. So I think it's time to wrap things up.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of our 27th Northern Showcase. We'd like to thank you all for joining us and remind you to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and join us in the No Code North Lodge and in person for upcoming events this fall.
And we've actually been quite busy with work this fall and haven't packed the No Code North schedule as much as we had in past seasons. So we have openings in the fall for speakers. If anyone has a demo to present or would like to do a workshop on a specific subject, please reach out to us. There's quite a lot of opening, and it'd be fun to see new faces. So please reach out. Otherwise, we'll see you at our regular time, 12 p.m. ET on Friday, to nerd out in our Gather Lodge.
Excellent. Visit our website at nocodenorth.com and sign up for our mailing list to receive all of our latest updates. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky when we post. Join us on Fridays in the lodge, our cool gather space. Our lodge hangouts are open to everyone, no matter where you are. We'd love to meet folks from wherever. And until next time, bye.